Amid the escalating tensions in the Middle East, US President Donald Trump announced a landmark truce between Israel and Iran just days after US bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran, really entering this conflict. But just hours after this truce was announced, there was violations from both sides, from both Israel and Iran, targeting various cities across their countries. But now, U.S. President Donald Trump, just hours before heading to NATO, saying that reprimanding Israel and Israeli President Netanyahu, saying that he needs to stop bombing Iran, and he's disappointed with both Israel and Iran. So, to discuss these developments, we're joined by Dr. Nii, who's a political scientist from Washington, to really understand what the situation that is unfolding right now. So, Dr. Nii, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV. My first question really is that, we've heard these harsh comments from US President Trump, really reprimanding Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, saying that he needs to stop dropping these bombs on Iran and come to the table, calm down even. So, what do you make of these comments that US President Trump made just ahead of attending the NATO summit in Hague?
At this hour, the situation continues to be touch and go. There are a lot of folks, including myself, who just last night cautioned, the president, cautioned the administration in terms of getting too far ahead of this proposed ceasefire, declaring a ceasefire, I should say. And already, we're seeing, Israel and Iran accuse one another of violating the terms of that ceasefire. The president this morning here in Washington sharing that he was not happy with Israel for bombing Iran and sort of chided both sides. But, this is a very fragile agreement, if it's an agreement at all. There are extreme concerns from members of Congress here in the United States about how real this ceasefire deal really is. And so I would imagine the next 24 to 48 hours are going to be really important in terms of seeing whether or not this ceasefire holds at all.
So my next question really is, in terms of the way US President Trump announced this truce, many even called it unilateral. Do you think in any sense President Trump in fact spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu as well as Iranian leadership before announcing this truce? Because just hours after the truce was announced on Truth Social, he's been announcing a lot of these truce agreements on Truth Social. But, both Israel and Iran were initially denying the fact that they had reached any sort of ceasefire. So what do you make of this? Do you think that there were any conversations that Washington held with both countries before announcing this ceasefire?
I think that it's a major question right now, how much Israel and Iran were involved in the development of this ceasefire deal. Was this something that the president and his team largely developed on their own, or was this something that both sides participated in? We know that ceasefire deals usually take some time. I mean, think about the Israel-Gaza ceasefire and how long it took former President Biden and his team to develop that ceasefire deal. And so I think there are a number of people that just based on the timing of how quickly the ceasefire deal came together, sort of questioned, how strong it was, how collaborative the president was in developing it, but more importantly, the likelihood of the ceasefire deal holding.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nii, for joining us on NDTV. This is, of course, a developing situation, and we at NDTV will continue to bring you all the latest.